Howdy folks, today we're checking out this Marshall DSL40CR Amplifier combo. Let's see how it sounds. G'day guys, this is Shane. I shot that intro clip specifically for this video. It's another new one. I've got about 10 new intro tracks I'm working on, so hopefully you enjoyed that one. I tried to layer it up with a few different guitars so you could hear the different flavors of tone within this amp. That was kind of the reason I bought this. I really like the clean channel, although I've also got a really great clean channel amp in my Fender Blues Deluxe reissue amp over there. But I wanted something different, not only for myself, just to mix up the sound I have when I play live, but I also wanted to mix it up for you guys so I can swap and change between Fender amps and Marshall amps. I think this is a really safe choice. I know a lot of people will already ask me, what about the Origin amps? I haven't had a chance to try them, but price was also a concern for me as well, and I wanted to go for something that I liked the sound of, that I had my hands on, that didn't break the bank, and this was one of those kind of amps. It did everything that I like, and it has pretty classic sort of Marshall tones in there, no doubt about it. This amp probably goes heavier than I would so choose to use in any situation, but I found by winding the gain down and having the master volumes up, it sounds unreal. Alright, here's the amp up close. As you can see, it looks pretty awesome, and we essentially have 4 different channels like I mentioned. So we have the classic gain channel over here, and it has a green and a red channel built in. So if it's green here, you're on the lower gain or the dead clean setting basically. If it's on red, you start bringing in some dirt. And then we go over to the Ultragain setting where the green channel already has dirt. It kind of carries off from where the red channel ends on this one. And then we've also got the red channel, which just goes balls to the wall, dirty, distorted. You could probably play even metal and all that kind of stuff with it if you so choose, even though I'm not that sort of player. It does everything from really, really nice Strat cleans all the way through to chunky, heavy tones. And what I love about this amp is the way the EQ system works. It works really well in conjunction with the channels. So if you decide you want to use, say, both red channels or both green channels, if you set up the EQ system, you don't have to walk over and adjust the EQ to sort of compensate for the change in channels. I think that's a really, really cool thing. We have a tone shift control, and I found this to be useful, especially if I'm playing Strats or Telecasters. It kind of knocks out a little bit of the high end. You can also dial that out, of course, by using the treble control or the presence control as well, which is here. But it's kind of nice on certain settings, not all settings. You do lose a little bit of low end bloom when you engage the tone shift, but it's pretty cool, so give it a shot. I think it's more functional on this amp than the DSL20 that I tried as well, but that could just be the fact the speaker in this amp rocks, which we'll get to in a moment. Over here we have a presence and resonance control. Now the resonance control adds more low end bloom, so the further this way it is, the bigger bottom end the amp's gonna have. And if you take notice of where I have the bass is down a lot on this amp, and it's really, really bottom heavy. I kind of like that in an amp. It's bottom heavy in a musical way, it's not just boomy, it actually sounds fat as, so I really dig it. Up next we have the reverb section. This is a digital reverb. I kind of found you need to crank up the reverb most of the way up to be able to hear it. So when I played live the other night, I basically had the Ultra all the way up and the Classic about here, and it was just like where I would set it on about 3 on a Fender amp, so it's not very prominent at all. I know that looks ridiculous. Usually I would set it like this if it was a Fender amp, but on this amp it kind of works best if you just wind it up. If you like reverb, if you don't, you set it however you like. This is maybe the most interesting / confusing thing about the amplifier are the 2 master volumes. Now we already have a master volume on each of the channels. We have a volume here and a volume here. I kind of find these a little bit redundant. I tried this live, and without question the amp sounds way better with these all the way up and then using the volume on the channels to set your actual volume. I tried it the other way as well. I tried it with 50% volume and then cranking up the volume over here, but it didn't sound anywhere near as nice. It got kind of fizzy. So if you buy one of these amps, leave that all the way up there, super glue them so they don't move anywhere, and then just use the actual volume controls on the channels and it will sound unreal. It sounds way fuller and fatter and all that kind of stuff and way less fizzy. This isn't a fizzy sounding amp. There was a lot of complaints about older generations of these sounding really, really fizzy. I wouldn't have bought it if it sounded fizzy. It sounds absolutely massive, so I'm a huge fan. We also have a power attenuation switch over here, so we can go to low and high. So high is 40 watts and low is 20 watts. For the sake of the demo and the sake of my neighbors, I'll be doing this demo in 20 watt mode. When I post some live clips coming up, you'll hear it in full 40 watt mode. Check out the back of the amp here. These are all actual outputs, the speaker boxes or stuff you can use like the 2-Notes Torpedo Live. So when I use the 2-Notes Torpedo, which won't be used on this video obviously, I'll be going from the 8 ohm out straight into the 2-Notes and I'll be good to go. I'll be disconnecting that. Or if you want to run it into a quad box or something like that, or a 4x12 or whatever they call them overseas, plug into this and you'll be also good to go. We have an emulated output on the amp as well. So if you're running it into a PA or something like that, you can use that. We have an audio in as well, which is probably something I'll never use. You can run your MP3 player or something like that into it. We also have a foot switch jack on the back as well. And we have an effects loop as well, which is awesome and also assignable thanks to the foot switch, which I've got right here. So this is the foot switch that comes with it. It is metal and it's pretty heavy for a little foot switch. So we've got the effects loop switch on and off. So if you've got something in the effects loop, you can turn it on and off. And we can also switch between the channels. Now you can only switch between the channels that you choose. So if you're on one green channel and one red channel on the opposite side here, that's what you'll switch between. If you have both red channels set up, that's what you'll go between as well. So it works like that. It's really, really cool. Let's take a look at the back. This is one of the other reasons I decided to purchase this. It had a Celestion V-type speaker in the back. I'll try and get a close up with a B-roll camera. But basically the speaker that's in here is fantastic. I've had it before in another amp that I had and it's great. It handles the lows really well. It has a lot of attack. It's got a really 3D sound and it's much better than the 7080 in my opinion. This is just my opinion, from the Marshall DSL20 that's currently out. So it ticked a lot of boxes. It's an amp I can use without pedals. That's enough talking. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. I'm playing my Fender Standard Mexican Stratocaster. This amp has 4 channels, so I'll mix up the guitars as we go. I have it mic'd up with a Rode M3 microphone, which I'm going to use moving forward now for all of my amp demos. I think this mic sounds great, so we're going to be using that. We're going to start on the clean channel. The master volume on the amplifier all the way over to the right is maxed out the entire demo. So let's give this a shot. And I have the gain and volume on the clean channel on 20 watt mode at 12 o'clock. So let's give this a shot. This is neck. It's got such a big push of sound, especially on the low end. The low end's actually backed off to about 9 o'clock. Let's turn the mids and the treble up a little bit, see how it sounds. Beautiful. Now for some clean tones on my Tokai Love Rock electric guitar. This is made in Japan, based on a Les Paul, obviously. Nice. I'm now on the red channel of the classic gain setting. Let's give this a shot. I'm on bridge pickup now. This is an awesome sound. It's great for that bluesy stuff as well. I'll just turn my volume down. Volume back up. When I took this amp out and played live the other night for the first time with a couple of my guitars, I pretty much just used this channel the entire time. It really sounds great. Let's crank up the drive a little bit. Neck pickup. Over to neck pickup on the Strat. Let's give this a shot. Bridge. Man, I dig it. Let's check out the Ultragain setting on the amplifier now, and we're on the green channel, so we can also go to the red channel, which has even more just balls. So let's give this a shot. This is neck pickup. It kind of reminds me of my favorite effects on my Blues Deluxe, you know, as in a dirt or distortion pedal, so it sounds pretty cool. Yeah, man. And that's with the gain at half. Let's turn it up just a little bit more and we'll see how crazy it can get. Man. And now over to the red channel of the Ultragain setting. This is pretty wild. I'm actually going to probably start with the gain down just a little more than it is. Let's give this a shot. Man. Gain up to 12 o'clock. Huge. And now with the tone shift button on the amp in. Unbelievable. That's without any pedals. That's why I bought it. Thanks for watching, folks. My name's Shane. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, what are some of the pros and cons and what do I like about this? The thing that I love about this amp, and the thing that I can't believe I hadn't tried a Marshall amp really forever, was the fact that I can plug into this and get just about every sound I like, from clean to dirty, without using any effects. It's pretty liberating to play that way. It's got a huge 3D sort of sound in the live mix as well. It really punches through. I might post a quick sample of that on this video. I'll see how I go. So overall, it's got a really big sound. It's just loud as, and I love the fact it's got a power attenuator, so you can turn it to 40 or 20 watts just like that. It's nice and simple. One of the things I still don't understand why is they put additional master volumes on the amp. I really think these things really serve no purpose. The amp doesn't sound anywhere near as good without them most of the way up. So it's one of those head scratching kind of things, that was good timing, where I don't know why they're on there. We've got master volumes on the actual channels, so that's a bit weird. One of the other things that might be considered a con for some people is the fact you can't switch between all 4 channels. For me personally, I don't really care. I won't be playing clean a lot with this amp. It'll be more for that off clean and then lead tone sort of blues rock kind of sound that I go for. It won't be, basically, I don't need 4 channels. So for me personally, I can get what I want for playing my kind of music and my original stuff just by using the foot switch. That's really great. Is this a good amp for playing at home? No. Don't buy it just to be playing at home. It's a little bit too loud if you gig. It's easily loud enough to just cut the mix. I was way too loud when I first tried this amp. I had the master volume all the way up, and I had the volume on the channels at about 9 o'clock, and it was seriously loud. So keep that in mind. These Celestion V-type speakers are monsters. Would I go changing this speaker in this amp? Not a chance. I really like it. I think it suits the vibe of the amp, and it's a point of difference from my Blues Deluxe with the Swamp Thing speaker, which I love. I would say this amp feels easily as loud as that. So if you're looking for volume and something that would definitely cut a mix in terms of loud drummers and bass players and all that kind of stuff, this will definitely do the job. From what I've heard, Fender have pretty much redesigned these amps from the older generations. A lot of complaints were the old ones were a little bit too fizzy sounding and they had reliability issues. These have been upgraded, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I mean, I'm not too sure, these will be even more reliable than any of the others in the past. So we'll see how we go. Thanks again for watching, guys. Catch you soon. See ya.